Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Drux Milan Unboxing. Please like this YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button if it piques your interest. It'll enable me to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm also a South African correspondent for Ring Magazine, the Bible of Boxing. Go to www.ringtv.com. And if you're sitting here in South Africa where it's hard to get hold of the print magazine, you can subscribe to the digital edition. Today we're going to be talking about Saturday night at Madison Square Garden, the Big Apple. It's of course heavyweight boxing. Andy Ruiz Jr. coming in as a 5-week substitute for Jarrell Miller, who tested positive for no less than 3 different substances. The less said about that, the better. We'll be having the chance of a lifetime to become the first heavyweight champion of the world of Mexican descent. Chris Arreola has tried three times. He came up short against Vitaly Klitschko, Bermans to Burn, as well as Deontay Wilder for the WBC title. Will it be any different for Andy Ruiz? He's got a mountain in front of him to climb in the literal and figurative sense. Anthony Joshua, AJ, is a big man, 6'6", 84-inch wingspan, and Ruiz, of course, 6'2" guy. When you compare him to Joe averages like me and you, is not a small man. But compared to Joshua, he is undersized and he's only got a 74-inch reach. So with those short arms, he's up against it against Joshua. Now, Andy Ruiz Jr., people have given him a lot of flack on social media, mostly the casual fans, because he doesn't look like an athlete or a fighter is supposed to look. He's got this sort of roly-poly physique. He doesn't have a six-pack abs or anything like that. He is one of those fat, flabby sort of heavyweights. But don't forget, right through the ages, we had two-time Tony Galento, Don Cockell before him. We've had Greg Page, Tony Tubbs, Francesco Damiani. Boxing is not bodybuilding, and that doesn't mean he's unfit. He's got 2 things going for him coming into this fight. He has last fought, I think, on the 20th of April. Alexander Dmitrenko, former contender, very shop-worn at this stage, retired after 5 rounds. He got through that fight unscathed, had a good win. So he was never out of training camp. So Andy Ruiz will be in shape, even if that shape is round, and round is also a shape. As one of my friends keep telling me, a pretty useful shape, car wheels and all those things are also round. So he'll be in shape and he's got absolutely nothing to lose. It's a 12-1 underdog. Nobody's giving him a snowball's chance in hell. Now, who is Andy Ruiz? He's actually, as substitutes go, a pretty good substitute. One could argue that he has a better resume than Jarrell Miller. He just doesn't have a size. He's compiled a very respectable record with only 1 defeat and a high knockout ratio. His only defeat came in 2016 when he challenged for a vacant WBO world title against Joseph Parker. And he lost on 2 points on 2 of the cards, and the other card was even. So he lost a very close decision and he fought well there. He took 2017 off, 2018 he was back. First round knockout over Devin Vargas. 10-round decision over everybody's favorite journeyman, Kevin Johnson. And then in his last fight, he stopped Dmitrenko. Now, Andy Ruiz basically fights Mexican style. There's a lot of things to like about him. He's aggressive, he comes forward. He has snappy combinations to the head and body. He's got a good jab. I like the way that he doesn't headhunt with it. He'll go to your chest and create openings of it like he did against Parker. And he throws his straight right with very good technique, especially to the body. He doesn't always go with a hook. He goes boom with a straight right like that, straight towards his opponent. So there's a lot to like about Andy Ruiz. The trouble is he is at that reach and height disadvantage. So there's only one way you're going to fight the bigger guy. You can be on your toes and you can box in and out like Evander Holyfield, or you can score, clinch, and then go walk around the ring, outside of punching room, attack again, and get out that way like Holyfield once again did against Valuev. But to me, Andy Ruiz hasn't got the feet to do that. It's not like he doesn't have any defense. He does have some head movement, he slips punches, and he's got the basic defensive moves. But he takes a few to land a few, and there lies the rub for me. He reminds me a bit of a heavyweight we used to have here in the 70s in South Africa. Mike Skitter had a similar sort of build, but Mike had a bit of more of a bob and weave. And Andy Ruiz, as I said, there's some head movement, but he's not exactly Joe Frazier. So there's only one way he can fight Joshua, and that's to come forward, to outwork and out hustle him, and then fall into a clinch or step around him to stay out of harm's way. But he's going to have to go forward, and to do that, he's going to have to get underneath Joshua's jab. That's already a big task right there. Can he hurt Joshua? We know Anthony Joshua is improving incrementally after every fight. He's not. He's got chinks in his armor. He can be hurt. Dylan White showed that. Vladimir Klitschko showed that. And even in his last fight, Alexander Povetkin tagged him with a left hook and had him wobbly there for a while. So yes, he can be hurt. But can Andy Ruiz hurt him? He's got a high knockout ratio. But if I look at Ruiz, you know, Dimitrenko was a guy of similar size than Joshua. But although he stopped him and won every round, and Dimitrenko was very sharp worn at this stage, he couldn't knock him off his feet. And then also guys like Kevin Johnson goes a distance with everybody except Anthony Joshua stopped him. He couldn't stop Kevin Johnson. Even if we go back further in his career, a guy like Sergey Lakovic, who was knocked out in one round by Deontay Wilder a few fights before he fought Ruiz, also went the distance against Ruiz. So that tells me that Ruiz has respectable punching power, but I don't think he's quite at the top level for heavyweight punches. Now, can he take a punch? Now, if you've been the distance of Joseph Parker, you must have a decent chin. But has he ever been hit with somebody by somebody who's going to bring the power of Anthony Joshua? No, there's nobody in his resume, so we really don't know. That's a big question mark. So he is going to have to get inside against Joshua, and I think his style is actually tailor-made for Joshua. He's not going to move back or around the ring like Parker did. He's going to come at him, and he's going to have to take a few. So unless Andy Ruiz has the best chin in the heavyweight division, it's possible. Or if he really hurts Joshua, which I doubt. You know, you can look at a guy like Alexander Povetkin, who's got the same sort of reach and height disadvantages that Andy Ruiz has, but he's a lot more explosive, and he's a former Olympic gold medalist. I just think he's got a much deeper toolbox than Ruiz has got. So I think Ruiz has got nothing to lose. Kudos to him. I hope he makes a ton of money and he makes the best of his once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But I don't think he's got the power to trouble Anthony Joshua. And I suspect if Joshua hits him, it's going to be unlike anything he's ever felt before. And I think Joshua does have some pressure on him. We had Deontay Wilder, his arch nemesis, defending the WBC title with that spectacular blowout of Dominic Breazeale. And Joshua says he hasn't got that in mind, but I think it does count. Joshua cannot afford to win a lopsided decision or go life and death and be troubled by Ruiz Jr. If he does, inevitably him and Wilder are going to have to fight, and that's going to diminish his negotiating power in terms of who gets what, etc., etc. So I think that will be in his mind, and I think it's Joshua's American debut. They've got to sell him to an American audience. He's going to come with all cylinders firing. So I expect Andy Ruiz to come out fast. He can only be aggressive. He can't win a boxing match with Anthony Joshua, and I think he's going to go for it. But I think in going for it, if he can get past the jab, as I've said, that's a big if. Joshua also has a great uppercut, and I think Joshua might nail him with that uppercut coming in, and I think once he hits Ruiz flush, he's going to hurt him and he's going to finish him. Now, I would be very surprised if 5 rounds have gone by and Andy Ruiz is still in there, and this is just a hunch, but I have this feeling that Joshua is going to emulate Deontay Wilder's knockout of Dominic Breazeale. So I'm going to put my head on the block and say that Joshua nails Ruiz in the first and also scores a blowout like Wilder did against Breazeale. Might take a few more rounds than that, but I just can't see it ending well for Andy Ruiz. On the undercard, we've got finally the Ring Magazine and WBA super middleweight champion of the world, Callum Smith, is back in action. He's fighting Hassan Ndam Njikam, the Frenchman of Cameroonian descent. And we all know Njikam, he's a guy who brings it. He scored a good win over Martin Murray, a close fight, but he got through it. And he's fought everybody. He's fought Peter Quillen, he's fought David Lemieux, he's fought Ryota Murata. He came up short, but he gave him terrific fights. It's only Murata who has stopped him. Now, one thing about Ndam that certainly is going to go down. He's athletic sort, but he's got poor balance, but he recovers quickly and he gets up. But now he's fighting at super middleweight. Callum Smith is a big super middleweight with a big reach, just like Joshua against Ruiz. He's got all the advantages. He's younger and he's a big punching super middleweight. And I think Hassan Ndam has been there for a very long time, and he's ripe for the picking. So I expect Ndam to put up his usual gutsy effort, but I think Callum Smith is going to get him out of there in 4 or 5 rounds, perhaps a few rounds more. And then actually the most significant fight on the undercard is Katie Taylor, the WBA, IBF and WBO Women's World Lightweight Champion, will go for all the marbles when she unifies against the Belgian girl Delphine Persoon, who's only has one early loss on the record, so all intents and purposes she's undefeated as well. So that will give us the third women's divisional undisputed champion. Cecilia Brakus at welterweight has all 4 of the belts. Then we have Claressa Shields that's got all 4 of the middleweight belts. And after Saturday, either Katie Taylor or Delphine Persoon will have all 4 of the lightweight belts, as well as the Ring Magazine title. Katie Taylor, to me, is a special talent. She's exciting. I like how she grafts on the inside. I don't know much about Delphine Persoon, I must admit. What I don't like about the women's game is the fact that the title fight is only 10 rounds and the rounds are shortened to 2 minutes. Now they say, okay, women can't take as much punishment as men. I don't agree with that. It's like my grandma used to watch, she watched live actually, Victor Wheel win the bantamweight title against Manuel Ortiz in 1950. And she said, she hates boxing, doesn't want to watch heavyweights, but she doesn't mind the bantamweights because they're small, they don't really hurt each other. Now, if you're a hardcore boxing fan, you know that's BS. It's all relative. So I would like to see the women's game extend their rounds to 3 minutes and go to 12 rounds, just like the men. Then we'll also see more stoppages, which brings to my next point. I don't think we're going to see a stoppage there. I expect Katie Taylor, who I think is kind of special, just like Brakus and Shields, even a little bit more than those two, although she hasn't got the resume of Brakus yet. I expect Katie Taylor to win a clear points decision. So that's my thoughts on what's going down at the Big Apple, New York, in Madison Square Garden. And until we see each other again, please keep those hands up.